Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. It is Tuesday, 6th of June, 2017. You know if I bring out the Fire Yourself t-shirt, it's Bacchanal. It is 8 o'clock in the Royal Imperial Majestic Banana Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And before we get into anything, while the audience is building, the top story of the day seems to be Kes Defentala took a haircut. So, this is for you, Kes. Somebody tell me, give me this as a request. Let me be the first to call you.
Them crazy. We gonna chase those crazy ballets out of town.
You are no longer a rascal.
Chase those crazy ballets out of town.
Some people would say that is a good song for our show, but we have our own prophet. Let him sing. King David Rudder. Share it. Let them know we out there. Kes, you know, is a love. I have to get some stick. Let them know we here. Numbers climbing quick. Last night video went viral. People had a time.
Can you hear a distant drum bouncing on the laughter of a melody? Yeah. And does the rhythm tell you come? Does your spirit do a dance to this symphony?
People just wait till 8 o'clock to light up this phone.
Does it tell you that your heart is a fire? Oh yeah. And does it tell you that your pain is a liar? Oh yeah. Does it wash away all your unbelief? Well, are you ready for a brand new discovery? Calypso, Calypso, Calypso music. Yeah.
We ain't talking, tell them numbers reach 600. Last time we reached 600. Call them out.
Calypso, music. Singing, oh yeah, Calypso. Singing, oh yeah, Calypso. I say that I am the seed of the ground and tiger now. I got to sing, oh yeah, Calypso.
I need to hear him say it.
Rooted deep within my Caribbean bed.
Lyrics to make a politician cringe.
Lyrics to make a politician cringe. But turn a woman's body into jelly. Shake it up. It is a sweet soca music, Calypso. It could have never refuse it, Calypso. It make you shake like a shango now, Calypso. Why it is you shaking, you don't know, that's Calypso.
Welcome one and all to the land of Fete, right? So, we get on in the Bacchanal early in the game now because the hours fly fast. So, before I lose track of it, because I keep meaning to bring it up. Now, I'm telling Trinidad and Tobago, you know, someday this week, the events overtaking me. This is not the issue. What I'm about to read here is not the issue. The name of tonight's video is why freedom of speech is important. The other half of the name, it couldn't fit, is why you cannot trust the media. But, and I'm getting into that, full speed ahead. But before we get into that, I meant and I keep meaning to go Queen's Park Savannah and do a live video outside Siam nightclub, Tamnak Thai and Apsara. I want to read this to Trinidad and Tobago. This is published on May 31st, 2014. Now you tell me if this is not corruption and bubble in the extreme. The National Insurance Board has spent $37 million to acquire the property housing Apsara and Tamnak Thai restaurants in Port of Spain and has promptly leased it back to the owners at $96,000 a month for 10 years. That is a loan. That is a loan. You hand the owners of the building $10 million and the installment is $96,000 a month. That is a loan. Why do that to people? What is the National Insurance Board doing in nightclub business? The Bossamark, the media Bossamark and say the National Insurance Scheme is about to collapse. This is why it is about to collapse. Why is the National Insurance Board in nightclub business? Why do you, Trinidadians and Tobagonians, why do you have to lie down on hospital beds without sheets if you could get a bed and the money that's supposed to use for that? Because this is national insurance money using for sole select contracts for bullshit, for party financiers and political investors like this. What does national insurance have to do with a nightclub? After 5 years, owners Sharif Mohammed and Marie Kavanagh have the option of repurchasing the property or leasing it again for another 5 years. That's a loan extension. That is not a loan. That is not that is... Chairman of the National Insurance Board said yesterday the lease was broken into 2 rent periods. Why is the National Insurance Board buying properties from the owners to rent it back to them? The lease is separated into 2 lease rent properties. For the first 5 years, $96,000 plus taxes monthly. So that's roughly what? $1.2 million a year? How much is they lend them? $10 million. $10 million. That's a 10-year loan. If they had gone to the bank for a mortgage on that property, they'd have to pay back $20 million because the bank is charging you 100%, and they will tell you it's not that. But when you finish pay off your house in the 20 years, you've paid more than twice the value of what you bought it for. What is the National Insurance Board doing, taking the people's money and spending it renting out a nightclub? What is the National Insurance Board doing in nightclub business? Tell me if this is not corruption and bubble. And the National Insurance Board spent $5 million repairing the building. Listen, in porn, believe it or not, don't ask me how I know, but in porn there's a job description called fluffer. His job is to fluff. The person who writes this article fluff all away. A financial source yesterday likened the transaction in substance to a loan of $37 million. It's not, it's $41 million at a fixed rate for 10 years, punctuated by an option to purchase at the end of 5. Now you tell me, why can't I go to the National Insurance? You know what? I'm going tomorrow. I'm going in Adrian Barrett ass tomorrow. And I'm going and tell Adrian, invest in my house and rent it back to me. And I will do it live from his office. And I will report back to Trinidad and Tobago. In August 2013, the decision was taken to purchase the property. Everybody in Trinidad and Tobago who have a building, a business, a home, and you need financing, go to the National Insurance Board. And if Adrian Barrett and the National Insurance Board refuses to give you a sweetheart deal like they gave to Apsara, Tamnak Thai, and Siam nightclub, you have to sue them under the Equal Opportunities Act, because they must explain to you why National Insurance Board money good to bail out Tamnak Thai, Apsara, and Siam nightclub, and it's not good enough for you. This is the bullshit that I can't deal with in this country. All the different schemes and mechanisms these people have come up with to rob the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Who are the owners of this club? National Insurance Board said has been working over the last 10 years to secure parcels of land at Queen's Park East, which is part of a long-term plan to own valuable real estate. You see bullshit? This is fluffing. They're fluffing you because they've lent the people the money. They are interest-free and they could buy it back. So how is this the National Insurance Board acquiring? You see, this is what you must listen to the bullshit and hear how they're trying to fluff you. Like when Amy Delias told the nation that was a strategic alliance between TSTT and Massive Fail Communication Company. Another fluff. We ain't fluff day and night. And NIB said it considered several... Wait, you have to hear this one. Somebody said, and I want to get this, because you have to hear this line, and I don't want to read the whole stupid thing. No independent valuation was done. And this investment was not recommended by the manager in charge of investments. They took everything from R&M Holdings at face value. Also, part of the payment was a $5 million to be paid for repairs. You see this? And this went on in 2013. So the Yellow and Steady crew ain't saying nothing. The Red and Ready crew ain't saying nothing. Because when they put their powder on the neck and on the chest and they go out in the night, they go in Siam and they want to flash the card. Because they're nice. You know why they're nice? They're standing up on you. They're standing up on your children head. They're standing up on your tanty diabetes. They're standing up on your grandfather heart disease. They're standing up on your mother cancer. That's what they partying on, you know, when they pull up in the Beamer. They're pulling up on your family sickness because this is national insurance money using to fluff and pose, and nobody in Yellow and Steady and nobody in Red and Ready taking these things on, but we will take it on. There has to be lawyers in this country willing to work on behalf of the people for civic-minded issues like this. The National Insurance Board needs to be sued, as are the owners of Siam Nightclub, Tamnak Thai and Apsara Restaurant, to recover the people's money. This was not the issue, but I kept promising to bring this up. You hear me? We must deal with this. It's in the public space. Let me take a short break and catch my breath. See why we need elections? We need to drain our swamp. We need to drain, and our swamp fetid. It's nasty. You can't scratch nothing in this country and don't bounce up theft and criminality. You could be anything. Once you know somebody in government, you could be a hairdresser and become a millionaire.
Our destiny, your vote will decide what you want to be. Your vote can protect our country's faith. But use it well before it's too late. If it is that who you're voting, fail the other doubt. When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is they prove it to be only full amount. When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out.
Now we deal with some more. If it wasn't for social media, we would not know what is going on with Faris, his children, and the guns. If social media beat the bush and flush all of them out, Rudal Munilal lego the pictures in the parliament. But Rudal Munilal himself knew that if it wasn't for social media, the corrupt Guardian and Express would have buried the story. It would have got a back page. It might have even get a round of applause. How lovely the guns match with the outfits they were wearing. Because that's the bullshit we get. Let me give you an example. I want to give you an example. The Guardian ran a story called Live Sport Ghost Still Haunting Sports Ministry. I see that and I say, and he'll have a jail to make. Tupol finally getting caught. Because that's what I'm saying. They're going after Tupol because Live Sport Ghost Still Haunting Sport Ministry. So I jump in and I jump in the article to read how this affect Tupol, and believe it or not, it is a whole long article published by The Guardian, written by Richard Lord. The headline, Live Sport Ghost Still Haunting Sport Ministry. I'm going to read the whole article for you, but I want to tell you how that ended up as the headline. The last line, because it is an interview with Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs, Natasha Barrow. And I will show you why she is a new member of the Jackass for Life Club. But in the last line, Natasha Barrow said there was need for healing at the ministry following the controversial live sport program. The second and third to last words had nothing to do with the whole article, but the Guardian called that the headline. You know why? Because newspaper publishers know 95% of the people don't read the article. They read the headline and they say, "I informed." And that is, unfortunately, how our people are. And you all need to do better than that. But I want to read this article for you. Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Sport. I want you to tell me, besides that second to last and third to last words, what this have to do with live sport and how they try to distract you with bullshit from the real issue. But we will open them up. Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs, Natasha Barrow, says the decision to construct a temporary roof at the Dwight York Stadium in Tobago is one of the immediate benefits of the $92,000 weekend trip to the island by 12 officials from the ministry, including Minister Daryl Smith and his 3 girl pals. Because I'm making sure Miss Barrow don't hide that. The hug-up romp in Tobago, the clink glass in Moonlight, the Louis rent some cars from Rolex and tour the island. See what the nightlife is like. Check out Sunday school. She leave that out. And she come to distract people with nonsense, fool them with bullshit, and say, one of the things we get for the $92,000 is a roof, or somebody recommend a roof. It's like somebody break in your house and rape you, but before they leave, they iron your clothes. So you gotta say, well, you know, it's a benefit. I get some laundry done. Even though I wasn't expecting the break-in or the rape, the laundry. Barrow, alongside officials of her ministry and sport TT officials, appeared yesterday before the Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, PAC, chaired by House Speaker Bridget Annaseth George, to answer questions about the trip and other matters. So we go in there to do magic. We have to distract them. We have to deflect from the issue at hand and give them bullshit to carry home. The officials went to Tobago for a site visit. You see, if you forget, they went there for an awards. That can last, that can stick because the awards was one night. How come you end up there with 3 girls for 4 days and spend $92,000 renting car and romping all over Tobago? So you send Barrow to bullshit we. But Miss Barrow, the whole of Trinidad want to tell you, miss we with that. The officials went to Tobago for a site visit at the stadium, which is in need of major repairs, and attended the Tobago House of Assembly Sports Award ceremony. I want to hug everybody. You're doing us a big favor. Yes, let's go on. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley requested a report from Smith about the trip after its cost was reported, because if its cost wasn't busted in social media, Guardian wasn't running this story. Guardian don't give 2 hours to run this story, you know, because Guardian, like Express, like Newsday, corrupt, sing for their supper. They have no interest in real journalism and real media. None of the people practicing media and journalism in this country that still write for these bullshit rags are real journalists. But stick a pin in that. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley requested a report from Smith, and I tell them from Pawn Star. From the Pawn Star come down. What's the Pawn Star name? God, Jack, one a friend. He used to have a big work on CNC3. From the Pawn Star come down. Samson. I tell them, when they run out of time and then bought and paid for the soap boxes you all have, meet we on social media, because it's a different place. Here, the people will eviscerate you for your bullshit. They're not tolerating nonsense. So come down here and find yourself an audience. Find yourself a following. Come down here and do real journalism, but we will deal with that. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley requested a report from Smith about the trip after its cost was reported. Not reported. After its cost was bust out on social media, where it became a national issue and a total shame. But retained Smith in his cabinet despite calls for him to be fired over what was seen as exorbitant spending on the trip. Yesterday, while admitting it could have been done a little differently. Let's pause. Could have been done a little differently. The rapist didn't have to break in. He could have knocked on the front door. Because I'm coming to do laundry and you could get a nice seam and a crease. Barrow insisted the trip was value for money, adding that the value could only be determined by the achievements of the exercise. It's like the ironing of the clothes. Forget the rape, forget the break-in, clothes iron. Annaseth George asked if the only benefits of the trip were for the delegation to see the dilapidated condition of the stadium because it took apparently 14 people, 4 cars from Rolex, and $92,000 to go and see a dilapidated roof. Miss me with that bullshit, Miss Permanent Secretary. And determined that there was need to construct a temporary roof for the facility. Barrow said other repairs were identified. Maybe that's why they needed 14 people to go. And they should be completed before the end of the fiscal year. She said the National Youth Policy, CARICOM Youth Organization Registration, Youth Policies for Tobago and Trinidad were among the projects advanced by the visit. You know what she mean? They hand out some brochures. They hand out some fire trucking brochures, and she claiming it as results because they're trying to hide the break-in and the rape. Let's focus on the ironing clothes. Barrow said in the future, alternative transport and accommodation will be considered with a view to reducing the cost of such trips. So they're not saying Daryl Smith was wrong, Sporty Spice, for grabbing his 3 gal pals and taking $92,000 and jumping on a plane to go to Tobago and romp for a long weekend. She's not saying that's the problem. She's saying that maybe the transportation was too expensive. So the next time Daryl wanted to do it, he have to use a pirogue and row to Tobago. Barrow, who has been acting since January, said it has been a traumatic ordeal due to fallout from the controversial Shell Live Sport program. She insisted there is a need to seek external professional support to change certain behavior patterns in the ministry. They traumatize. It's post-traumatic stress disorder. When you go into the Ministry of Sport, they're bouncing off each other. That's what's going on. She's telling you. There've been suicides, rampant drug abuse. You could get robbed and held up in the lunchroom because of live sport. Yes. Yes. They have a part though. And I'll never forget. When she said acting permanent secretary in the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs, Natasha Barrow, appearing yesterday before the Public Administration Appropriations Committee, chaired by House Speaker Bridget Anisette George, to answer questions about the controversial romp to Tobago and other matters, said there was need for healing at the ministry following the controversial live sport program. And I added, and the minister, Daryl Smith, Sporty Spice, is taking a hands-on approach, healing 3 women at a time. Personally, Miss Daryl Smith, miss we with that bullshit, eh?
If it is the time is now that change should come about, just as how you vote them in.
Just as how you vote them in. Take responsibility.
Register and vote them out.
Make sure
Stain your finger.
Natasha Barrow,
Show them no mercy. Put them out with total skull and utter disdain. Let's put our country together again. Put them out of power, dominate their reign. Let's put our country together again.
my mother is a very religious woman. She's light candles in the church for all manner of things. And I ask her, please, light some candles for this country now.
Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi tells Guardian Media he went to Camp Komoto as a guest of the TNT Defense Force to deal with security matters regarding himself and his family.
Bullshit start early, and Uvashi Tiwari make it sound so nice. To hear her read Faris's bullshit, you might be tempted to forget this is the same Faris that stood mute while Stuart Young stood up and said, Faris wasn't there and that wasn't his children. Remember that? In the parliament, no less.
But an investigation into the Al-Rawi's visit says the event
You're hearing this, right?
by then Chief of Defense Staff, Kenrick Maharaj. Mr. Maharaj has since denied he authorized the range practice, allegedly including members of the Al-Rawi family, conducted at Camp Komoto Barracks on the set date.
So, what do we know? What we know is this, that Faris Al-Rawi, on his own volition, with his children, abused his office, went to Camp Komoto in conspiracy with others who had access to the locks and the keys for the high-powered rifles that belonged to the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force, broke the law, when caught breaking the law, because his two children, like children everybody, everywhere, take the pictures and post it up on Facebook. Look, we are a narcissistic society. Everybody want to say, look, we. That is why of all the women's pictures I see on Facebook, 75% of them is ass first. When you see the pictures, ass first, because the ass nicer than the face. So this is what that was. Look, we with the guns. Yeah? That's what mash up the thing. And now that it's in the public space and you can't duck it, you decide to concoct a story. So the people responsible for answering to the public, the heads of the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force, this nation's army conducted a board of inquiry and decided to lie on a man. They lied on former Chief of Defense Staff Kenrick Maraj, who wasn't invited even to testify before them. They closed their doors and concocted a story and released that. And they said, we've done an inquiry and we find that the Attorney General is not to blame. But then Wayne Sturt said, not so fast. You have to tell the nation what exactly your inquiry unearthed, so we know that it was no misbehavior in public office. They hem, they haw, they twist, they turn, they try all kind of national security bullshit, and it come right back that they had to release it. So what they released was the concocted information, the lie, and then the Guardian and the Express copy and paste it whole. They pick up the phone to call nobody to get a response. The only person they call is Saddam Al-Rawi, and they ask him what did he think of the story. He said, I always knew I had no questions to answer. It was always so. And then the man who they throw under the bus, thank God he's still alive. Because if Major General Kenrick Maraj was dead, we wouldn't have known. We wouldn't have known this. They made a mistake and they blame it on a living man. There's another man in this thing. He dead, they gotta blame him, you know. I don't know how that happened. But they blame it on a living man who willing to say, but wait, I wasn't involved in this. I wasn't there. Mr. Smart, Mr. Chief of Defense Staff, how could you sign your name to a document without doing due diligence to find out if I was even in the bloody base? So now, that bacchanal outside there in the public space, and Saddam is still your minister, he's still your Attorney General. Saddam's still going Friday in the People Parliament to try and ram home. You see this Saddam big work, he have a hard on for this. He want to ram home that cybercrime bill so he could turn this show off and shows like this. They want to be able to hire and pay corn beef man and the rest of the clowns masquerading as activists and buy out the Guardian and the Express. But they can't reach me, and they can't buy me, and they can't threaten me, and they can't sue me into oblivion. So they don't know what else to do. Go and shut down Facebook. Go and turn it off. So that's what he's trying to do on Friday. But we need to say, Saddam, it is so. It is so, because you have questions to answer. You blame a man for your law breaking. You have questions to answer. Now, Papa Doc Rowley, sit back there watching, because he let Sporty Spice romp. He called for a report on Sporty Spice's romp. He went personally to see what was going on in Tobago. But he is saying boo about Saddam and the children and the guns, which I find completely suspicious. I find it completely suspicious, because you're interfering yourself in the thick of thin things. You're going to check to see that Sporty doing the job. You're going to check to see if they say Rohan doing a crocus bag of ass. Let me jump on the boat myself and see. Even though you land and you walk straight past the truckers who stand up there protesting, the fallout from the same jackassery that Rohan Sinanan did. So your whole PR photo stunt explode in the nation, and the only thing that come out of that, the only thing that come out of Papa Doc is a release to tell Anna Ramdas, hey, the boat didn't really break down, only making me look like a fool. Keith Rowley, nobody making you look like a fool but yourself. Saddam Al-Rawi is responsible to the nation to answer, because, and somebody shared something today, I want you to understand, This is not even what we're dealing with today. No. Today we're supposed to be dealing with Saddam and the law, which I'm inviting all of you to join me outside of your parliament on Friday. And if you care about your freedom of speech and the future of your nation, come to the parliament on Friday. Tape your mouth shut. Wear black, because we're mourning for freedom of speech. We're going down there to tell every member of parliament, vote against this cybercrime bill. But stick a pin in that. Comment to that. Somebody shared today, and I want to read this. I have a healthcare thing to read as well. I mean, this nation, how do you keep track? How do you keep track? How do you keep track? You have to hear this though, because you need to know the litany of wrongs and the laws that were broken. But in New York City yesterday, a judge sitting in judgment in her courtroom, the doors open and deputies walk in and executed a bench warrant against her, put her in handcuffs and took her to her next court, where she had to answer for a drunk driving charge that she had. That's how it works in a real country. That's how it works in a real country. But not in the Royal Imperial Majestic Banana Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, where the Guardian, where the Express could run a headline, 2 women sexually assaulted during robbery. That is a shame. It's only when you read the article you realize 2 people were kidnapped in St. James, up the road from the St. James police station. Kidnapped at gunpoint, walking down the road normal. A man and a woman walking down the road normal, held up by 2 men with guns, kidnapped, taken back to their homes, where they found another couple, tied up everybody, robbed everybody, raped the 2 women and leave. And the Express ran a headline, knowing 95% of the people would just read the headline. Wrote 2 women sexually assaulted during robbery. And we leave that. And we buy that. This is why you cannot allow them to interfere with social media. Is social media allowed us to tell you what the EFCL did? Because the man who gave me the EFCL documents, I say, partner, I sending this to the media. He said, brother, I send that to the media since last year, November. I send them copies, I send them texts. I call them to find out if that was true. Why you're not running this story? You're running a half a story. You tell people love and service, Arnold Pegard resigned, but you didn't tell them why. You didn't tell them why. That the Mark bus and the fallout serious and that it dirtying everybody. But you wasn't telling them why. So when I read it verbatim on this platform, 2 days later, Express run the story. But they say to rationalize, because this is what we do. We rationalize everything. The journalists rationalize, because if I don't do it, somebody else will do it. I sat down in a media association trying to Tobago. I joined Matt once, and I sat down in a media association trying to Tobago meeting, and I heard them bitch and moan about how badly journalists are paid. And then I realized that they don't realize that journalists are paid badly so they have their soul to sell. I will buy your soul. I will put you up in a nice apartment. I'll buy you a nice car. You could bling out. You could like yourself. You could meet us in Siam and Aria. You come out and like yourself and fluff. I will pick up the bill. Yeah? You just have to write the stories that I'm telling you to write. So when to rationalize that, you have to tell yourself, rationalize. You have to say, somebody else will do it if not me. There was a lawyer on TV this morning who said the best person to solve the judiciary impasse is the man who caused it in the first place. Would that same attorney apply that same reason to similar situations? I hardly doubt it. But then there are others saying the AG's children being given TNT defense guns to play and pose with is no big deal. In a nation where the law is the law, unless it's your partner who break the law, in which case it's okay. The Chief Justice needs to step down. He appointed someone who should not have been appointed. As the head of the commission responsible for the appointment, it falls to him. Pretending that there is anything else in the matter besides a person hired to exercise due diligence in a matter who failed to exercise due diligence is to apply high maths to simple arithmetic. Faris Al-Rawi, as Attorney General, is the chief custodian of the nation's laws. As Attorney General, he is supposed to set an example for all others to follow in a nation ruled by law. If he as AG can flout them with impunity, what then is the point of law? We, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, need to grow up and stop playing games with our governance. We need to stop defending foolishness and rationalizing nonsense. Either we stand for what is right and against what is wrong, or stop pretending that what we really want is a real and functional country. Because we cannot have it both ways. Cannot have it both ways. This is what I wanted to read for you. This is a serious matter, and this is from our Chief Research Officer in the Progressive Empowerment Party. She's on the thread as Misty. So tell her thanks for this. This is a serious matter involving the commission of several criminal offences which carry serious fines and terms of imprisonment. Section 6 of the Firearms Act, Chapter 1601, prohibits a person from having a firearm in his possession without being the holder of a firearm user's license. Section 8 of the Firearms Act prohibits a person other than the police, members of the defense force, or holders of a firearm user's license from carrying a firearm in a public place. Section 9 of the Firearms Act makes it an offense for any person to transfer, test, or prove a firearm for any person he has reason to believe is under the age of 25 years. Section 3 of the Military Training Prohibition Act, Chapter 1504, prohibits the carrying out of training in the use of firearms without written authorization from the President. Section 4 of the Military Training Act makes it an offense to assemble in any place to carry out such training in the use of firearms. Section 8 of the Children's Act of 2012 prohibits any person from giving a firearm to a child being defined as anyone under the age of 18. The police investigation will have to clarify the role of the Attorney General and Minister Stuart Young in light of the fact that they were both present at the material time and also receiving similar military training with weapons. It is clear that they will have to give statements. The idea that the Attorney General was not with his children and did not know what they were doing rings hollow and is extremely suspicious, and it is doubtful whether a rational parent will leave their young children unsupervised for such a long time in such a dangerous environment. So you tell me, Trinidad and Tobago, you tell me all of these laws were broken and more and more. All of these laws were broken and more by the Attorney General. He is culpable. He is liable. He is the author. He is the person that drove his children there. The Children's Authority, they dropped their responsibility here. The head of the Children's Authority should be fired. The head of the Children's Authority should be fired. But you went and locked up the man who child drunk in a drain because he couldn't afford a babysitter, living in the beta and catching his royal ass, leave the child unsupervised and went to work and the child drunk in a drain. You arrest the man for murder. All you know, so it's a different law for Faris. Tell the nation why. Tell the nation why there's a different law for people living in the Beaton and people living in Goodwood Park. Tell the nation why. So the nation knows, because all these laws were broken. And if it was anybody else's children, especially if their parents was there, the Children's Authority would have been taking away those children from the parents, and the police would have been giving them case after case after case. So tell me, what is going on here? Children's Authority, fire yourself. I can't believe we marched for you. 25,000 of us marched to get you empaneled, empowered, and funded. This what you do with it? Selling your soul? Faris Al-Rawi is culpable, liable, and is supposed to be answering questions.
If for 30 years you voting them in, and there's only tears as soon as you win. They give you big words and enslave your soul, promising you roads and filling potholes. If they are the reason why the economy goes broke, when you're voting, vote them out, vote them out. If it is the passing laws that
man ring me today. He said, Philip, sorry for disturbing you. I don't mean to be using your number out of timing because I know it's only for during the show. But I couldn't get through and I calling to tell you I don't just want to stick my finger. I want to put my whole hand up to my elbow in that ink when it's election time to vote for you. That man called to tell me that today, brother. Thank you for that support. Vote them out. Vote them out with malice.
Stick your finger and rescue the country. Vote them out with tempo. They happy in vain. Let's put our country together again. Vote them out with calypso and joyous refrain. Let's put our country together again.
Attorney at Law Michael Karan Nicholas has expressed concern about the current Crime Bill which government is looking to take back to Parliament. He said under this bill, everyone can be considered a criminal. Rishi Harinanan tells us more.
Speaking on Good Morning Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Karanicolas said what's important is for the bill to be crafted in such a way that it clearly defines the scope of prohibited and accepted activities and does so as narrowly as possible to achieve its goal.
He's about to tell you that they've written a law in such a way that what they want to be said can be said and what they don't want to be said will be a criminal act. This is the Cybercrime Bill 2017 that they're going to ram down the Parliament's throat on Friday by a man, Faris Al-Rawi, who has demonstrated contempt for the rules of the Constitution that prohibits the passing of laws that require a 3/5 majority. This law requires a 3/5 majority. I am afraid for my nation and its democracy, all of our people and our enshrined rights because of this man, because of Saddam Al-Rawi. And I'm calling on Trinidad and Tobago to come out in your thousands, come outside of the Parliament, make your signs, tell them, vote no, because any member of Parliament that vote yes for this law automatically start to petition the Elections and Boundaries Commissions to recall them.
The bill does not do that.
Unfortunately, what we see in the cybercrime bill is to criminalize enormous aspects of behavior and say, well, we will hold that to be criminal conduct if not justified, which is very vague phrasing. And so potentially there's no telling what level of or how wide a net this would cast in terms of normal online behaviors.
You heard what he just said? There is no controlling, no telling how wide a net can be cast. Policing, litigating, normal online behavior.
Said for there to be a free and open society, people need to know with sufficient clarity where the line between what's prohibited and what's accepted is.
Now, the law is crafted in such a way that it is vague, so that the law enforcers and not the police even, this is a ministry thing. This is a national security and an attorney general thing. These are things that can be used politically to silence dissent, so that you cannot come to the nation like I am doing tonight, like I do every night, and expose these sons of bitches. So on Friday at 1 o'clock, whether rain or storm, because they say we're going to have bad weather, I had to take wet. I will be there outside the Parliament to take wet. If you love your country, if you stand for democracy, if you want to preserve human rights like free speech for your children, join us outside the Parliament Friday. That is your Parliament. Come and add your voice.
The problem with laws like this is they can be applied in a subjective or discretionary way, where if there's a type of speech that the government wants to stamp out, if laws give them the tools to do so, they'll be able to crack down on legitimate dissent, on protest, on any kind of speech that is inconvenient for the government.
Inconvenient for the government. Like me reading the litany of laws that Faris Al-Rawi broke when he took his children to Kamutu and broke the law.
Could fall foul of this legislation, which is very troubling.
He said if passed, the law will create a level of fear in people's mind and it may make them shy away from using the internet.
Now this was run, believe it or not, on CTV this morning. I am telling Trinidad and Tobago, I am playing it into my video. You're not seeing the video, but you're hearing the audio. And I'm playing it into my video because I trust for it to disappear. At 9:22 exactly a.m., when the the sport permanent secretary, as acting permanent secretary, was in front of Bridget Anisette George and was being quizzed at 9:22 exactly. The CTV site, social media site, crashed and redirected you elsewhere for the duration. I trust this video to go missing, like the ambulance report on TV6 went missing.
While he admitted that cybercrimes do exist, the bill as is only duplicates laws which already exist.
In a lot of circumstances, they're just iterations of garden variety criminal offenses. So, for example, if you want to make a cyber fraud a crime, cyber fraud is really just fraud done online. And so if you have regular fraud statutes that could apply to online behaviors, then there really is no need for additional legislation a lot of the time. A lot of the time you have existing criminal offenses, and all you really need to do is to provide proper training to police or investigative agencies in order to ensure that they can understand and apply these laws.
As usual, the problem in Trinidad and Tobago is enforcement. But that's not the issue here. They're pretending this is about policing. They're pretending this is about law enforcement, but it is not. This is about control. This is about silencing dissent. This is about managing what people are allowed to think and say. In Trinidad and Tobago in 2017, when the rest of the world are getting freer and more open because of social media and the internet, we are becoming oppressive and dictatorial. Venezuela, here we come.
And I will note that several of the crimes within the cybercrime bill are duplicative of existing offenses within Trinidad and Tobago's criminal system.
Government plans to reintroduce the bill on Friday in Parliament and will have the matter discussed before a joint select committee. The bill requires a 3/5 majority to be passed in the lower house. Rishi.
Now, the bill requires a 3/5 majority to be passed in the lower house. So the people, and I want to say this now, the people who give me stick for supporting Gerald Ramdeen and even Annan Ramlogan in the efforts that they are expending against a rogue judiciary, because that's what we're facing now, where you have to go through midnight sittings to get injunctions to prevent appointments by an organization that may not have the moral authority anymore to make those appointments. That's why I have to tell you all, miss me with that bullshit. Because if you waiting for the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny to show up and support me, right now I still calling for some financial help in a lawsuit I fight in, two lawsuits that I fight in by myself. A couple people jump in and share. But the rest of y'all, you know Trinidad, it's talk. It's talk. So when Gerald Ramdeen and Annan Ramlogan stand up, I had to support them and I have to applaud them. And if you don't like it, you have to miss me with that bullshit, because point me in the direction of the lawyer who willing to stand up and help. Point me in that direction. I go in there too. This is our reality. Friday, I will be going live outside the Parliament and you will see who turns up, because everybody else need to understand there's somebody else you're waiting to fix it. One day you might turn around in a jam and there will be nobody there. You need to stand up right now for your country, for your democracy. Stop parroting bullshit. Stop looking for nonsense as a distraction as to why you're not there and why you're not helping. Stop looking for people to blame. Look in the mirror. Check your own self. And I'm serious. One o'clock, Friday. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Everybody.
If their policy is a policy,
Everybody.
their bureaucracy a catastrophe. If they cannot cope and you see it so, then your only hope is for them to go.
Hello, good evening.
It is fabrication.
Yes, good night, Philip. How are you doing?
So far, so good. What's up?
Well, I'm calling from Toronto, and I was very concerned about that cyber law. what are you going to call it? The Philip Alexander law?
Well, it looked like that's the reason for enforcing it now at this point, because I am
they had to call it the Philip
I am
Alexander
the last
law.
of them, because Fixing TNT follows me. 2 weeks later, Fixing TNT come and copy my whole wall and go on and put that as a release, and the media copy and paste that as a story.
Right. Yeah, listen, don't let them deter you. We're behind you. We're behind you.
Thank you, my friend. Thanks for
Don't
that.
let them deter you.
Thanks for that, my friend. Yeah.
If it is that frustration that's make you want to shout when you're voting, before they misuse out, T-Fox and out and digs out. If it you, vote them in. Yeah. Revelation.
Fire yourself from a side. Papa Doc Rowley, Saddam Al-Rawi, Jackass Rohanson and Failure Fitzgerald Hines. Fire all. Fire them. That's your rights. That is your rights as citizens in this democracy. The Constitution of the Republic guarantees you that right. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Hi, good evening. You're live.
Good night. Good night. I'm calling. My name is Andrew John. I'm calling to tell the people that this cyber thing is a serious thing, right? A very, very serious thing. It seems to me that they want to bring us like China, like Korea. You know, like have the people under real oppression.
You coming out Friday? You coming out?
Yes, of course.
I see.
I come out. Yes, I come out. But what I call for is the voice to all my yardis, all my brothers to come out, because when they don't know how serious this thing is, or they better know, or they have to come out and support Philip Alexander by Parliament.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for that.
Come out.
Thank you for that, my friend. Thank you for that. I want to see Kirkwood and Fixing TNT. I want to see David Abdullah, MSJ. I want to see the AOI. I want to see the ILP. All who march with these mocking pretenders, closet oppressors. I want to see you all Friday outside the Parliament. A nation in trouble. Ansel Roger, Sunati Maraj, I want to see you all.
Right down to the heart of the matter. Desire go bust and reality scatter. He promised to find next time. He promised
Come out.
next time. He promised to find next time. Next time. And who ain't there? The badly wounded. Who ain't there? Badly wounded. Who ain't there? The badly wounded. Who ain't there? Badly wounded.
Good evening, you're live.
Hello, good night. Yes, Philip. Just wanted to say, the people of Trinidad, they need to stand up, because this cybercrime bill, the government stripping the people of their rights, the right to freedom of speech, and they're going to go further after that. The people of this country need to stand up now. They need to take this country back. Now is the critical time in this country's history. They need to take it back.
Where are you calling from?
New York.
Thank you for that, my friend. Thanks a lot for that. What Faris want? That's what Faris want. That's what Faris want. Militarize the nation. Buy who you could buy, threaten who you could threaten, sue who you could sue, and shut them all up. That is the government only voting to power. Good evening, you're live.
Yes, Philip, we again from Toronto.
Yes.
Do you remember the step Dr. Rowley took when he was in opposition to Bahrain? He disappeared and he went to Bahrain. He was in opposition to meet with Arab businessmen.
I don't want to go down that road. I can't go down that road because, as you know, how they're moving with their lawyers and stuff. But I understand what you're saying, and thanks a lot for that. Hello, good evening, you're live.
Philip Edward Alexander, Vancouver North in the house.
How are you, my friend?
Hi, good man. Tell me something. The thing about it is, people, I mean, in as much as there are people who are sleeping giants here, there are people who are waking up. It was interesting. I think I mentioned this to you before, but I think the citizenry, and I want to put it in the public space, 94.1 had a radio program on Monday saying if you had to fire a government minister, who would you fire? And a number of people called in to say fire the whole cabinet.
Fire the cabinet. Fire everybody.
And I say to myself, I say fire yourself.
Fire all, thank you.
Everybody is disappointed in the way the finance minister operated. I think the fact that you put everything in the public space, Philip, the word is getting out. It mightn't be as fast as we would like it to, but it is getting out there. People are not stupid. They are insulting our intelligence. And one day they will wake up and realize that the population has gone west when they went east.
Thank you. I see you 1 o'clock. I see you Friday.
We are getting ready to vote them out. We are getting ready to put them out of the parliament.
You're coming Friday outside the parliament 1 o'clock?
You saying that like you're in show?
Thank you, my brother. Thanks a lot for that. Listen. Clause 5 seeks to create the offense of illegally accessing a computer system. This offense would carry a fine of $300,000 and 3 years imprisonment on summary conviction, or a fine of $500,000 and 5 years imprisonment on conviction and indictment. Clause 6 seeks to create the offense of illegally remaining in a computer system. What the hell does that mean? Illegally remaining in a computer system, which would carry a fine of $100,000 and 2 years imprisonment on summary conviction, or a fine of $200,000 and 3 years imprisonment on conviction and indictment. Clause 7 seeks to create the offense of illegally interfering with computer data and would include damaging or deleting computer data. This offense would carry a fine of $100,000 and 2 years imprisonment on summary conviction, or a fine of $200,000 and 3 years imprisonment on indictment. Clause 8 seeks to create the offense of illegally acquiring computer data. This offense would carry a fine of $100,000 on 2 years imprisonment on summary. Good evening, you're live.
Good night, Philip. I just called to tell you, if you could get your hands on the speech, the inauguration speech with Philip, with I'm going to say the Prime Minister, yes, with Keith Rowley. He said something that, if my memory serves me correct, with regards to his ministers misbehaving in public office, that the buck would stop with him, and something along that he would be held responsible. I don't know if you could look back at that inauguration speech, Philip.
Thanks a lot. I will look for it. Thanks a lot for that.
Okay, take care, bye.
Yeah, we were reading this thing. Clause 9 seeks to create the offense. Clause 9 seeks to create the offense of illegally. Hello, good evening, you're live. Hello, good evening, you're live.
Philip.
Hi, good evening, you're live. Where are you calling from?
Philip, calling from West Moorings, Philip. Are you hearing me okay?
I'm hearing you.
Philip, I think a lot of your listeners is Brian Stone. A lot of your listeners think we have a love-hate relationship. I guess they're right. I don't agree with everything you do or say, but I will tell you this. I absolutely 100% support you on this protest and this movement against the bill. This situation is extremely, extremely dangerous. If the government achieves their goal and passes this bill, it inevitably or ultimately shuts down social media.
That's what they want to do.
Yes.
That's what they want to do. They can't control it.
Yourself, myself, your listeners, or anyone can be held liable for lawsuit and criminal proceedings if this bill gets through. This cannot be allowed to happen in Trinidad and Tobago. Cannot. Absolutely cannot.
Well, I hope you're calling out.
I am asking all of my friends, family, and my compatriots in the United National Congress to come out on Friday and support the opposition, support our movement, support Stand Up TNT, and every citizen who is against this transgression or potential transgression to shut up free citizens' voices. This cannot and it will not be allowed.
Thank you for that, my friend.
You need to push this. This is preposterous. This is crazy.
We've created an event. We've created an event on Facebook to stand in the defense of the nation, and we're hoping that people use it and share it with their people to get the word out. It's getting some good numbers already, so hopefully we will get the numbers out. And because we need 1.3 million people by the parliament. That's what we need. We need.
I want to see what kind of reaction my fellow citizens are going to how they're going to respond to this, because if we make the mistake and be lackadaisical about this, God help us. I am sitting down here in awe. Philip, we had, as a matter of fact, I met a number of my fellow activists. We are sitting down in awe, in disbelief
that they're trying
that this can actually happen.
That they could even that they could even entertain trying it. This is madness. This is madness. I am calling on every Calypsonian, every activist, every charitable organization, every civilian organization. Come out on Friday at 1 o'clock. Come in front of the parliament. Make a sign that says no. We say no. We say no. Slow your hand, Rowley. Slow your hand, Al-Rawi. We do not want you to eviscerate the Constitution because we give you our 5 years in office.
I will even go a step further. I am cautioning this government. I have no intention of living in a country where my freedom, my rights of freedom guaranteed under the Constitution in this democratic country, that these rights are removed. And I'm cautioning this government, if they think they're going to get through with that, I'm cautioning this government that whatever disobedience, civil or otherwise, legal or otherwise, that is required to shut down their illegal moves, to shut down the free people of this country, very much like Maduro and Chavez in Venezuela, and we know the situation. If they think people like me and others like me, and there are hundreds of thousands like us, will allow that, they are mistaken. They will be shut down first. And I guarantee that this ain't happening. This cannot happen, not in my country.
Thanks for that, Brian Stone. Brian Stone calling on behalf of the United National Congress, and that was a big contribution.
That devolves upon you is the protection and promotion of your democracy. Democracy means more, much more, than the right to vote.
We will go longer tonight.
For every man and every woman of the prescribed age.
We will go now.
Democracy means
recognition
of the rights of others.
I'm calling for Afro Raymond.
Democracy means the equality of all in the eyes of the law.
I'm calling for Gary Griffith.
Democracy means equality of opportunity for all.
I'm calling everybody who have mouth.
Public service and in private
Friday 1 o'clock. Listen.
I repeat, and in private employment.
That is Eric Williams.
Democracy means responsibility of the government to its citizens. The protection of the citizens from the exercise of arbitrary power and the violation of human freedom and individual rights. Democracy means freedom of worship for all and the subordination of the rights of any one race to the overriding right of the human race.
I want you to read. I want to read from a document that I am in love with, that I swear by, that I quote daily. It is to me the most important document. It underpins my existence as a citizen. It ratifies my rights. It is the Constitution of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And there is a section, chapter 1, part 1, called Rights Enshrined, the recognition and protection of fundamental human rights and freedoms. It is hereby recognized and declared that in Trinidad and Tobago, they have existed and shall continue to exist without discrimination by reason of race, origin, color, religion, or sex. The following fundamental human rights and freedoms, namely the right of the individual to life, liberty, security of the person, and enjoyment of property, and the right to not be deprived thereof except by due process of law. The right of the individual to equality before the law and the protection of the law. The right of the individual to respect for his private and family life. The right of the individual to equality of treatment from any public authority in the exercise of any functions. The right to join political parties and to express political views. The right of freedom of movement. The right of freedom of conscience and religious and belief and observance. Freedom of thought and expression. Freedom of association and assembly. Freedom of the press. We must come out on Friday at 1 o'clock and read these rights to Saddam Al-Rawi, Papa Doc Rowley, and let them know we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, say no. We say no. That is what they want. They want to militarize the nation. That is why Rowley went and wined with Maduro. See the video? Rowley whining with Maduro. You see that? Embarrassing, man. As your Prime Minister. I am a patriot. You know that. I fight in them from all sides. I stand against this. I call on Trinidad and Tobago to stand against this. Michaela Pandey, every columnist, every activist, every politician, past, present, future, every citizen of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago stand in defense of our democracy.
Talk it all, you bloody deceiver. Talk it all, you serpent master. Talk it all, you freaking oppressor.
I want you to hear this. This is this onerous, oppressive, draconian law that Faris Al-Rawi is taking to the Parliament on Friday. This is in that law. Clause 9 seeks to create the offense of illegally interfering with a computer system or with a person who is using or operating a computer system. This offense would carry a fine of $100,000 and 2 years imprisonment on summary conviction, or a fine of $300,000 and 3 years imprisonment on conviction on indictment. Clause 10 seeks to impose greater penalties on persons who commit an offense under Part 2 and which affects critical infrastructure. This clause would define critical infrastructure as any computer system, device, network, computer program, or computer data so vital to the state that the incapacity or destruction. You ever open a program, you ever open an email and you know things jump out? That jump out on your screen now, you are now liable. That is what this law does. That is what this law does. Clause 11 seeks to create the offense of illegally producing, selling, procuring, importing, exporting, distributing, or otherwise making available a computer device or program for the purpose of committing an offense under the Act. Circular logic, circular reason. It's a law, you break the law because you break the law. This offense would carry a fine of $200,000 and 3 years imprisonment on summary conviction, or a fine of $500,000 and 5 years imprisonment on conviction on indictment. I call in Robert Amar in the morning. I want 104.7 to dedicate the show to this tomorrow. I don't think people understand what it is going on. While we distracted by Army Gate and Rump in Tobago with Three Girl Gate and Salt Gate and Rohan Sinanan is a Jackass Gate and Stuart Young and PTSC Gate and Fitzgerald Hines and Morvan Gate and all the other rest of the gates that come in with this bullshit clunker of a cabinet that we have as a government. While we distracted talking about all that nonsense, while the media filling your head with bullshit and selling you nonsense as news, Faris Al-Rawi is stripping you of your human rights. This Friday, live 2017, how democracy dies on the waterfront. We'll be there at 1 o'clock on Friday. You all know this country that you stand in. A man, I just read, a man was sentenced to 2 years anger management for giving a police officer a middle finger. 2 years anger management. There are so many things wrong with that story, but what I wanted to ask is, these petty crimes you could enforce, these petty crimes you could take all the way through the system, but people blood flowing like water in the streets, death and dismemberment, murder, kidnap and rape, gun running, drug running, human trafficking, these things going on unimpeded. Corruption. You have an attorney general who broke 9 laws, who took his 2 children to the army base in Kamuto, conspired with others to break laws, put high-powered rifles in their hands, had them pose for social media. You had that go on, and police can't lock his ass up, but they could find the man with the middle finger. The Royal Imperial Majestic Banana Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, you satisfied with this as your country? If you're not, if you're fed up of the bullshit theater that passes for government, if you're fed up of the uneven application of the law, if you're fed up of small people getting charged, and big people getting away with murder, if you're fed up, 1 o'clock Friday outside the Parliament, peptrinbago@gmail.com. Send them an email saying I come in, I'm looking out for you all. Yes, this Saturday at noon we meet again. The membership is building, the movement is growing. If you want to be a part of the Progressive Empowerment Party, this Saturday at noon, send them an email. You know how to contact us. Be involved, get involved. All the people who want to make this a better country, we have to get beyond talk. We have to get beyond talk. Because right now, while we're talking, Rome burning. Yeah? Thank all of you who are here. Sorry, we went 10 minutes over. I apologize if I kept you back. But tomorrow, as usual, 8 o'clock, we will continue this. We will deal with this. We will eviscerate this law tomorrow, because I hope to have at least 2 attorneys for interviews tomorrow dealing with this issue. And I want to get my partner, my activist, independent senator, who's shy, but I want to get him to come out and add his voice to this, because this is total, absolute fire-trucking madness. And we as a people, we have a responsibility to stand in defense of our nation against a government gone totally mad. Thank all of you for being here. Stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.